There could be bias at your workplace. What are the common causes of bias and how do we deal with it at workplace? That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi everyone, it's Jade from Career Journey Professional, helping you to find and land in that career that's suitable to who you are, aligned with your values, and really utilizing what you're good at. Today I want to talk about a sensitive topic, how to deal with bias at workplace. Before we get started with bias, I really want to draw the line between discrimination and bias. I actually did a research on this just to make sure. So I will share the list below from Australia Fair Work. What are the things that's really called discrimination? And if you are being discriminated, you need to take lawful action. It's against the law. It's not something you should tolerate. I'll just read out the list, but you can read from the page that I shared as well. So below things, this is just for your information. If you feel like just for you to know whether it's bias or discrimination. If it fits into the category of discrimination, you just need to take lawful action. So things included below are the things that will be considered is discrimination, and it's against the law. No matter it's your boss, it's your colleague, it's your co-workers, or it's your clients. If they conducted discriminative activities towards you about below topics, that's including race, your color, sex, sexual orientation, age, physical or mental disabilities, marital status, family or carer responsibilities, pregnancy, religion, political opinion, national extraction or social origin. Those are the things, if they have explicitly discriminated you on that point, which I can give you an example which I experienced before is I had a client, so I was answering a client phone call. He doesn't know me and he said, "You have an accent, I don't think you can help me." He said, like, "You have Asian accent." That's discrimination already. I didn't know that, but it's good that I know now. So if those are the things, you don't need to tolerate it. All right, so that's out of the window. Those are the things that are discriminated, but I am talking about bias. So bias is commonly actually recognized in the workplace. Actually, the official Australian government has an official document on unconscious bias. Very interesting. So there's sometimes that we may have bias that's unconsciously formed. But today I want to talk from a point of view, from a client's point of view for you. If you're a candidate, if you are if you're just an employee in the workforce and you feel like you're dealing with this kind of potentially biased situation, how do we deal with it? So I want to point out some of the common causes of bias in Australia. First of all, the biggest one is citizenship or permanent residence, your visa status. I mean, this is so apparent and it's inevitable if you're looking for a job. If you do want to take the next step in Australia, one of my most watched video that I shared in how to find a full-time job in Australia, the first hurdle that I talked about is your visa status. Unfortunately, there's no way around it. Sometimes a company can just don't choose you simply because of that, no matter how good you are. So if you do need to figure out your visa status, please do figure it out before you want to consider your career path in Australia. That's my suggestion. That's what I did. If you do want to live here in long term, do take that into account, and that's seriously going to affect your career path. So do try to obtain a legal work visa or a visa status that's going to help you to find a job that's really suitable for you. Right, that's out of the equation. So second point that I find, like I mentioned before, that it's very common for employers to form a bias is your language and accent. I just shared that example when I was working in a finance company. From this point and the other points from now on, I want to state the ground that I am coming from a place that we're trying to understand why their bias formed and how do we deal with it respectfully. Of course, if you feel like this is already out of the range that you want to tolerate, or it's just very disrespectful, unprofessional behaviors, you don't have to tolerate it, like I said. But now we're working from a point of view of seeing we as employee, we as job seeker, what can we do? So we're trying to understand why a company has this kind of concern anyways. Like I said, if you're like me, English is not your first language, or you do have your own accent, whatever accent that may be, that could be a bias, or let's say a stereotype, or some sort of judgment that could be formed from the employer's side point of view. And if we try to understand them, it's obvious. Like, you are trying to work in their company, serving their precious client. They're paying you salary, so they do need to know that you can work professionally, properly, appropriately, using professional English language in a business environment, right? So your language and your accent, that may be one of their concerns, which is totally reasonable. So my approach for this to my clients are, do explain or do strengthen that how good you can work with the English, or how your accent is not going to affect your work performances from the very beginning that you deal with your employer, whether they did ask or did they not ask about this concern. Try to address their concern as early as possible. And if it's really affecting your opportunities of getting that dream job or going to the next level, then obviously do something about it. If you're worried about a language, it's easy. Go study business English or how to use professional English in a corporate environment. There are also accent coach out there for you to correct your accent, let's say enhance your accent. I actually have a connection who's working on that professionally. If you do need help, you can reach out to me. So that's point number 2. Point number 3, it's what I gathered, some common causes of people being biased from my client group. You may have other reasons, but I'll just collect them together and explain to you how to deal with it. So that's including gender, race, age, family conditions, and other factors. How do we mean by that? I mean, race or your cultural background is quite obvious. I mean, obviously, if it's a company full of Aussie or full of local people, but you are someone coming from overseas and you are of a different race or different cultural background, the employers may have concern that they wonder if you can blend into their team or culture as quickly as possible or as properly as possible, and also for them to include you properly into the team. They may have to do extra things. They may have to acquire extra resources for you to bring you on board, to train you properly, even to translate proper things to you. So that could be their concern. So if it's your job is to explain to them how you can better blend in the culture, what do you understand about the culture, what do you like about it, or how you have strong adaptability into different scenarios, or how you like to work in a diversified environment, stuff like that. That's how you can better address this kind of concerns. And similar to other things, I do have client experience that being a female employee towards the age of, having a family, may potentially get pregnant, may potentially need to have maternity leave. When they're looking for a job, that could be a disadvantage. If you're not planning that, again, just address it earlier. Tell them clearly within such and such time you're not gonna have a family, or you're not gonna have a baby. Or if you do have a plan, do tell them, and then it's gonna help your employer to better plan and select the right candidate for them and treat you properly as well. For other things, like your family or carer responsibilities, you do have to get up early for your kids, you do need flexible work arrangement. Again, if you do have to require those things or tell your employers, tell them, but also offer things that you can compensate, or say you can work, or you can only work on Monday and Tuesday, but you're happy to work extra hours if there are anything that you can offer or contribute or make it easier for them. If not, but still tell them the most important thing, it's your efficiency, it's your performances, it's your experiences that you're going to contribute to the company, which is what really matters for them, right? But at the end of the day, they're all human. They should be able to understand where you're coming from. Having said that, if you're still being treated unfairly based on all of those things, if it's against the law, go to Fair Work. If it's not against the law, you have the choice to choose a more appropriate employer, a more suitable, supportive, and caring employer for yourself. All right, that's point number 4. And number 5 is the actual job performance or work arrangement at work, that sometimes it may seem unfair or may not be the best, let's say, intention or best inclination towards what you wanted as end result. If that's the case, you need to do your research and you need to collect data or evidence to prove that's correct, or to make sure that what you think is biased is actually whether it's true or is it to the extent that you think it is. But if it's something that's, for example, I'll give 2 examples. Always communicate and make it clear to your employers, to your organization, or even to your boss, the higher manager level, escalate it if it's really unfair, if you deem this is not appropriate. I mean, obviously provide your evidences and provide your reason behind it. But again, if it's really unfair, you should not tolerate it. I have clients, she heard people, female colleagues, bad mouthing about her behind her, and it escalated into the whole team of like 7 or 8 people not talking to her, talking behind her back in the kitchen. So she reported it to her manager, and her manager reported to her manager. The whole company was aware, and they took very serious consideration and even fired one of the employees for her fair treatment. And that's how it should be. You should not tolerate it. And I had another client who her employer didn't pay her for several months. So collected evidence and sent it to Fair Work, and then eventually was paid to her. So that's what I mean. Collect your evidence and do communicate and do escalate if it's needed. All right, so that's 5 points of how do we deal with potential bias at work. And I also offered some legal documents if you do have to go to and do double check. If not, in other biased situation, try to understand where they're coming from. Always prepare your cases, always communicate, and always look for a mutual beneficial solution to the end. Otherwise, if it's still not fair and it's really not tolerable, you always have the choice to walk away. You do not have to tolerate these things. All right. Thank you for listening. If you do find it helpful, please leave a like. Subscribe to our channel. Do join our Facebook Live. And I will see you next video. Bye.